When you muster up the courage and decide something, make no bones about it. That's your warrior energy coming online. And if we want to go, real cosmic, it's like you're calling upon the energy from all the men that have walked this path before you. And you do that action for the men that will come after you. Well, the warrior is the most coveted role in a culture for hundreds of years, thousands.
Yeah, thousands of years.
Yeah.
And
warriors were respected. They kept the peace.
Right.
Like police officers are called peace officers.
Right. And that sacred aspect of the warrior archetype has been lost a lot, Even our military, which I have a great deal of respect for, they've been taught to not feel. Because in battle, you can't really feel for your enemy.
No.
I get it.
You throw your gun down and leave.
But they've been taught to be mindless soldiers. Like, shut up, do as you're told, don't question anything. And that's not being a warrior. I mean, yes, those men and women are warriors.
Well, we would say that's being a mercenary, right? A warrior disconnected from his feeling is
right.
Basically a mercenary.
Right. Warrior is the archetype of action, right? Get shit done. It's the engine of the car. The lover is the GPS. Right. Your heart has to be guiding the work that you do and what you're fighting for. Otherwise, you are just a mercenary fighting for the highest bidder.
Yep.
There's no meaning behind your mission or your battle.
Yeah. So quick examples for men, how this shows up: being cold, right? Being a bully. That's the classic epitome of the archetype, the shadow, right? Just like indifferent to hurting others.
Right.
Yeah. Power play.
Right. Yeah. And that sacred calling of the warrior. The warrior will always sacrifice himself in service to the realm. And that's what the men and women of our military, they got that part. And respect, honor for that, and gratitude. Thank you. Unfortunately, again, in my judgment, our military have been pawns for bureaucrats that are using them for money and power, and we're not fighting for what we think we're fighting for. But let's take it away from military and back to a personal level. The two negative poles of that warrior: bully, as he said, and weakling.
The weakling,
right?
Yeah, the coward, actually.
Coward, yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I've been both.
Oh.
Full transparency. Full transparency. Again, I grew up being the mama's boy, the city boy, the wuss. I got beat up as a hobby. And I was terrified. I was a coward because I didn't know any other way. All I had was a mother and a sister raising me because my dad was gone. I remember high school football in Texas, freshman year, the parent-teacher meetings, and the coach, it was Coach Purdy, Purdy, Coach Purdy.
Sounds about right.
I know. And he told my mom, and now your boy just ain't got that fighting instinct. He just ain't got it in him. And she goes, my mom's such a granola. She was a hippie back then. She's like, don't blame him for that. He was raised by a pacifist. And the coach goes, "Oh, darling, don't say negative things like that about yourself." I don't think he even knew how to spell pacifist.
Right.
But, so I was that coward, and that still shows up for me in my life today. There's times when if I don't keep that shadow in front of me, when I won't say what needs to be said because I'm afraid of the consequence.
Right.
That's where that coward energy can show up.
Or the warrior is the one that decides, right? The warrior is the part of us that we take focused action. It, like you said, is to get shit done. It is the archetype of action, courage, bravery, honor, discipline.
In a sacred form, yes.
Yeah. So it's when you're mustering, I say you, I'm speaking universally here, when you muster up the courage and decide something, make no bones about it. That's your warrior energy coming online.
Yeah.
And if we want to go, real cosmic, it's like you're calling upon the energy from all the men that have walked this path before you. And you do that action for the men that will come after you. And that's the sacred, rite of passage and trust that each of us are imbued with. And that's living that mission. And that's that warrior energy connected to the vision of the king. And we'll get to the king in a moment. But
yeah. Yeah. So again, going from coward, usually the pendulum swings too far the other way and it goes to bully, where it's focused on power over, not power through, but power over people that are less than, or even animals. Like you kick the dog, or you yell at your woman, or you yell at your child, or whatever it may be, or even a coworker or an employee.
Yep.
Right, because you feel that you have power over them. So, and I know, Michael, you had an experience with one of your employees back in Marin. I remember you telling me about.
Yeah, I was definitely running that coward bully energy where at home I was being one way and didn't show up in my power. But when I was in my office and I had an assistant and there was that power dynamic, I was able to exert that shadow power over her because I felt weak in another situation. And that was both unfair to that person and didn't actually address the problem. Right. And I'm grateful for that person because we had an amazing working relationship where we pressed these others buttons in just exactly the right way. We were, as we say, each other's medicine. And she was a powerful woman that would hold that mirror up to me. And I learned in that relationship. But I definitely know how that can show up. And, we talk about being a warrior in the boardroom, but not in the bedroom. Being able to kick ass in the conference room, but you can't deal with a talk with your wife. So, this is, I think, a problem most men can relate to.
Yeah. And this is, again, where I say, man, we've made all the mistakes. This is why we can offer the counsel and the perspective that we have now, is because we've made all the mistakes. We've done and been all of these things at some point in our lives.